Hello everyone and welcome back. With the release of the first 4.4 evocati PTU the other day, there has been a fresh round of data mined information, both in regards to the 4.4 patch with Levski and Nyx and a lot of stuff to do with that. But we've also got our first really big information on the new ships that we are likely to see at this year's Intergalactic Aerospace Expo. So in this video, we are going to take a look at all of that information. We're going to go over the Nyx related stuff first. There's some interesting stuff there. There's some new music that you should be hearing in the background that I'll just kind of have looping throughout the video. That is actually new music for the Nyx system specifically. But we'll touch on that, and then we'll go into talking about the new information we have on possible IAE ships and vehicles. So we got a lot to cover. Let's go ahead and get into it. First, let's briefly talk about Levski itself as the landing zone. There has been, apparently, according to some people in evocati, a lot of FPS issues so far with this current build. Again, it's not super uncommon for evocati, but the old joke of lagski has returned. Hopefully it's not that way when they actually push the patch to live later this month. But I will throw up just a couple of screenshots that were leaked in the Pipeline Discord, just kind of showing some general outside views of the landing zone. It's nothing really that we haven't already seen from like CitizenCon, past footage there. But you can get a little bit of a look at the landing zone, some of the asteroid belts surrounding Levski itself. Looks really, really cool. I really like the much bluer star than the more kind of yellow or orange stars of the Stanton and Pyro system. I think it helps with the flavor. It helps with the flavor of the system feel a bit different. So there's a little bit of a look at just some of the general locations of Levski. Next, to show you, there's some kind of general signage that seems to be for either some of the new space stations that you'll be able to go to for the new sandbox activity that they talked about at CitizenCon, the QV logistics stations. Some of these images and kind of signage were found in the engineering tech preview files, and then other stuff was found in the 4.4 evocati build. But I'll just throw a couple of them up on the screen there. You can see those, just some posters, logos. I'm sure you'll see plastered all over those stations. And then here we can see a few of the more Levski specific posters and some graffiti. There's some things that look like it'll be around the hospital, like your check-in, and some kind of like seemingly like graffiti it looks like it's kind of been written by like a child, like crayon on the walls or something. So it's pretty cool looking. So you can expect to see that and a bunch of different stuff plastered around Levski. Just kind of, add to the atmosphere, add to the mood. So that'll be pretty cool to see. And then these couple of logos, images that you're seeing here, are some of the graffiti / logos for one of the new factions in Nyx called the Shattered Blade. This is, if I remember correctly from some previous data mines, sort of a anti-Vanduul faction. They hunt Vanduul. They have been selling Vanduul technology and bodies to Associated Science and Development, which is the source of that. If you've been to the Project Hyperion site, there's something you find in there. That something is from the Shattered Blade. So I think they'll definitely play a big part in some of the stuff that we get up to in Nyx. I'm sure they'll have a presence at those QV logistics stations we go to, and probably some other places in the system you'll be able to run into them. So they got some, just some logos. Shattered Blade, it makes sense. It's nothing too crazy. They're nice looking. So just thought I would point that out to you. We then also have some new armor that was found. This is the Testudo armor. This appears to be similar to the version that was shown in the latest roadmap update, although these are variants of it, it seems. The first one, this says, is the standard one that you'll be seeing. It kind of looks like you have a Vanduul skull for a helmet, which is pretty cool. The second one that you'll see here, that is a Wicklow version that has a different helmet. So those are pretty cool looking. I think there's, from what I saw, there was somewhere else that I saw it, there was like 4 or 5 different versions of this armor, I think. So there might be some more to find, or 4 to 5 different versions of the one that we saw on the roadmap. So looking forward to scrounging around and looking for that. So that's kind of sort of the general news for Nyx related stuff for this initial patch. I have heard that there are some other like missions you can do, but not anything super specific quite yet. Sounds like pretty similar to things you can do in Stanton or Pyro, maybe a little bit different, but mostly the same. I'm sure we'll be able to explore that a little bit more, presumably when the patch goes to probably open PTU sometime this upcoming week, or probably at least wave 1, maybe by Monday or Tuesday. So then we can take a little bit more of an in-depth look at that. But now we're going to transition over to talking about ship stuff. So we have first some data mines for ship paints that'll be coming, and then we're going to get into talking about all of the information that we have on the upcoming ships for IAE. So to go over these new paints real quick, first we have the Best in Show paints. Apparently these are going to be orange, black, orange. That'll be the theme for the Best in Show paints this year. And of course we'll be getting paints for the Anvil Gladiator, the Anvil Asgard, the RSI Polaris, and the RSI Zeus. Those were the top 4 winners of this year's Ship Showdown contest. And then a few paints were also found for the Luminalia event. That's the in-game version of Christmas. There's usually, I don't remember the exact dates, but before Christmas, sometime in December, there's like 12 days where each day there's like a little free gift you can collect, and there's usually some ship paints in there, some weapons, some little doodads, things like that. But we do have a few paints that are going to be coming in for some ships. It'll be kind of the white and blue and green and red paint scheme that they seem to stick with for the Anvil Terrapin, the Crusader Spirit series, the Drake Golem, and the RSI Scorpius. And last of all, there are some more specific 4.4 patch paints that are all for the Drake Golem. No images or anything, but several different color variations: yellow, gray, white, gray, metal, metal, and black, red, black. I would think maybe this is because, like they talked about in CitizenCon, there's supposed to be quite a lot of minables that you can get in the Nyx system, especially in the Glacium rig. So I wouldn't be surprised if the Golem is sort of the patch ship, and there's just some different paints you can get with it, and then they'll probably be one of those that's part of the patch bundle with that new armor set as well. Probably some version of that, and a weapon of some sort. Maybe the new shotgun pistol thing that they showed off in their roadmap, potentially. We'll have to see. But some new paints that'll be coming in for 4.4 for the Drake Golem. So that's all the paint stuff. So now let's talk about IAE stuff. All right, so for IAE, right now there have been there's been information found for 6 ships that not necessarily every single one of them will be at IAE. We could see maybe 1 or 2 more that come as part of like an end of year patch, like in December, but there'll probably be at least 4 to 5 of these that we see at IAE this year, coming up in just a couple of weeks. Now, 4 of them have definitely been confirmed for IAE. This has been done through, I think that someone found a lighting setup file that is for like the lighting for the displays of these vehicles in the convention hall for IAE. So going off of that, they found the names, found some of the parameters, so that'll give us a little bit of more information on some of these specifically. So the first one is, of course, the RSI Perseus, the amazing RSI gunship subcap killer. We've known for a while that this was going to be coming at IAE, so most of you probably know what this is already, but that has had that sort of lighting setup confirmed, so it'll be on the show floor there. You can explore it. Of course, if you own it, you'll be able to fly it and find out how powerful those size 8 guns are going to be. So it'll be very exciting to check that out. I'm really looking forward to getting my hands on it and seeing what's changed from the concept, seeing how it turned out, and seeing what sort of things we can do with it. The next vehicle that has had some lighting configurations found is a variant of the Greycat MTC. So the MTC is the Mobile Tactical Center. It's essentially a mobile armory for 2 people. You have some internal weapons lockers and suit lockers. You have a little size 2 turret on top that I think the pilot can control, or if you have someone sit in the secondary seat, they can operate that remotely. You even have on the back of it, there's a little pop-out storage rack for some 1/8 SCU containers. But there is a variant of the MTC that has been found that is the Greycat MDC, that is presumably the Mobile Defense Center, equipped with missile racks and likely the specialized size 2 ground-to-air missiles from a previous localization data mine, and there has been a store page confirmed for this. Those size 2 missiles I think were found, I want to say in 4.3.1 data mines. I think there was some size 1 and size 2 like specific ground-to-air missiles, so this will probably be, I don't know exactly how they'll set it up, if it'll just be a little turret that replaces the remote turret with guns on top, or if it'll be integrated in some other way. I'd be interested to see what the capacity of missiles is, because if it only holds like 6 missiles or something, it's not going to be worth much. Like, I feel like you'd have to maybe replace some of the internal space and just make that storage for missiles, so you could just have tons and tons of missiles, similar to like the Storm AA maybe, although maybe you only have the size 2s, you don't have the size 1s as well. So we'll have to see for sure, but I'm looking forward to checking it out, and yeah, let me know what you think about that one down in the comments. So the next ship that we have is the RSI Salvation. It's an unknown role currently, but the size estimates based off of the lighting setup renders. They pinned the ship between a Pisces and Prospector in size, speculated to be the entry-level salvager that was previously teased in the year. There has been a store page confirmed for that as well. This is very likely that small RSI salvager that they talked about and showed some concept images of during a Star Citizen Live back in, I think, March, when they talked with the vehicle concept team. They had a couple of different versions that they were considering and looking at, so I don't know which one they happen to go with. We'll probably, of course, find out pretty soon, but some sort of starter salvage ship between the size of a Pisces and a Prospector, so I doubt you'll be able to hold that much, RMC or construction material, but it may be very good at refining the what's it called, the powder, the construction powder, which I think is the highest density, so you get the most material from that. So we'll have to see, but looking forward to seeing another starter ship for an industry focus. So I'm sure a lot of players will enjoy that. And then we have a Drake ship. We have something called the Drake Clipper. It's an unknown role right now, but the size estimates based off of that lighting setup seems to confirm that this ship is the missing Drake-like CitizenCon silhouette, and there has also been a store page confirmed for that. So this is likely to be the really weird-looking ship that we saw at last year's CitizenCon when they teased us with those different ship silhouettes. It looked kind of like a Corsair middle section, but with like the back cargo bay cut off, but also with the Corsair wings. Looked really, really goofy. Very, very confused by it. I know a lot of people have had a lot of different ideas and theories as to what it could be, but it seems like that may be what's coming in here. So what role it's going to play, I really don't know. I think the Clipper is historically, I think that's a name for like a older type of ship, maybe it's a cargo ship, a name for a cargo ship. I don't know entirely. And you'll have to correct me in the comments or let me know on that, but maybe it'll be cargo focus. I don't know. Based on the silhouette, it doesn't look like it's built to carry cargo, but maybe it'll just be something more combat oriented. So we'll have to see. But let me know any thoughts you have on that down in the comments, what you think it could be, if you plan to get it, and what you think about it. So then we have two other ships that haven't had any ties found to the IAE sale quite yet, but they could turn up, of course. There's still quite a bit of time, quite a bit more stuff that could be possibly data mined or put in the files. So these other two ships that we could possibly see at IAE or before the end of the year. The one is going to be the RSI Hermes. This is a Apollo variant focused on cargo transport. It has a tractor beam and missile pods. So this is probably going to be about as close as we get to like a Connie, not Mark II, because the Connie is like a Mark V, but essentially a Mark II Connie, maybe. I'd be interested to see if CAG doesn't like fully redo the Connies and just kind of makes more Apollo variants to kind of mimic the other Constellation variants. And I'm very interested to see the cargo capacity on this and tractor beam placement, all that sort of good stuff. But that's possibly something we could see at IAE. I could see them doing it because it's a pretty large ship. It's, not as big as the Perseus, but it's 70 or so meters. So maybe they push that a little bit towards the end of the year. And then the other ship that we have to talk about is a possible variant of one that I'm sure many of you are very fond of. So this last possible ship is a variant, seemingly, of the L-21 Wolf, but this one is called the L-22 Alpha. Now, whether it also has the name Wolf, like it'd be called the L-22 Alpha Wolf, I don't know. There was some signage or textures found within actually the current live build, along with some paint variants from the L-21. So I would guess, if anything, this would be a laser version of the Wolf. and probably not really anything different about it. Maybe they don't have the fin on it or something. But that's the best guess that I have for what it would be, is simply a laser version of the Wolf, which I gotta say I'm kind of disappointed that they would do that. I really would think it'd just be better if they just made a weapons kit, let you switch out the ballistics for lasers if you want to. So we'll have to see, unless it's, because it's 22 and that's bigger than 21, unless it's a different ship technically. Maybe it's a medium Kruger fighter. So that would be interesting to see. I personally don't think it is. I think it's much more likely that it's just a variant of the Wolf that probably doesn't have that many changes to it. So we will have to see. If you have any thoughts on that, if you think it's a laser version or something else, make sure to let me know what you think down in the comments. And also, if there's any other ships that you'd like to see like weapon kits for, or other kits for things at IAE. I'm sure, like at Invictus, they'll probably have a few things. So if you have any thoughts on what you'd like to see, make sure to let me know down in the comments. So that is all of the current information that we have for 4.4, both for stuff related to the Nyx system and stuff for IAE. I'm sure there's going to be a lot more we're going to find out probably over the coming week. We'll get a lot of news this upcoming week. We'll get the monthly report. I think we'll have a roadmap update as well this week, so we could get some more news there. And so there's going to be a lot to cover. So make sure you get subscribed if you're not already to get updates on all of that. So I'm going to be covering all that this week, checking out the PTU, hopefully when it goes to Wave 1, checking out the monthly report and all that sort of good stuff. So definitely get subscribed. And if you enjoyed this video, feel free to leave a like, as it really helps the channel. And make sure to leave a comment below on what ship you're looking forward to most at IAE, or what you'd like to see, maybe you hope to see that hasn't been listed here, or anything you'd like to see added to Nyx. But that's going to do it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you in the verse.